We're going to talk to Joseph Vasquez. He is associate editor at MRC Business. We've got a lot of declassified Durham Appendix documents here about Soros and how deeply involved he is between the Clinton campaign and trying to link Trump to Russia. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Oh, good to have you. My gosh, you should have seen me freaking out trying to find your phone number. I think I'm having heart palpitations.
Oh, no, please forget it. I mean, sometimes I forget. I leave my phone somewhere and then I freak out.
Yeah.
Totally understand.
Please, I almost had a heart attack. All right, so y'all have proof.
Exactly. I mean, this completely obliterates the left's constant assertion, that George Soros is just this conspiratorial boogeyman of the right. No, what we learned from the Durham report was that the Open Society Foundations was much more embedded with the Russian collusion hoax than previously thought. And what we ended up finding out was that the director of OSF's Eurasia operation, his name is Leonard Bernardo, apparently had pretty much outlined the entire scheme for how the Russia collusion hoax was going to take place. And then he predicted, according to a source who told Fox News, with alarming specificity, what the FBI was going to do once they circulated this lie throughout the information ecosphere. They said that the FBI was going to put more oil into the fire, and sure enough, about a couple of months after these emails, according to these emails, after they were sent, Crossfire Hurricane started. I mean, need I say more? I mean, the question is, you ask me if I'm surprised. Absolutely not.
Nobody's.
I mean, Soros. I mean, people should understand by now that Soros is not just a passive player. He's very much involved in reshaping American society into his personal plaything.
Why do people not talk about that? Because if somebody donates money to Donald Trump that's on a 24-hour loop. By the way, is Soros bleeding from the eyes? I know he's old, but I just saw a picture of him. I pulled it up, and that guy looks like he's on his last loop.
Well, the amazing thing about Soros is that even though, he's in his 90s, so we don't know how much time he has left, he's downloaded billions of his personal wealth into the Open Society Foundations. The Open Society Foundations is George Soros by extension. Whether he lives or whether he passes on, he's ensured that his organizations, now being led by his more political son, are going to far outlast him for the decades to come. So we'll be fighting George Soros for the foreseeable future. That much you can be certain. I mean, when I first heard about these Durham documents, what I remembered was what I had discovered with the Disinformation Governance Board that Alejandro Mayorkas at the DHS was trying to erect, and when I found out that the person that was going to co-chair this Disinformation Governance Board was a previous employee of Soros, Jennifer Daskell. And I'm like, so this is just the latest example of Soros getting involved in one of the most chaotic psyops that have ever been perpetrated upon the American psyche. So it doesn't shock me one bit.
And it's so funny how all of the people on Facebook, because they're experts and they know more than we do, and they cite their sources, which included Soros-owned, publications and Soros-loved publications. But they were all in on the Russia hoax. You couldn't tell anybody it wasn't true. Here, so-and-so said so, so-and-so said so, must be true, blah, blah, blah. None of it was true. But now none of them will say a stinking word about it not being true. And the fact that it's linked to not only Skillery Clinton, but also to Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, it's crickets.
No, exactly right. And, people need to understand. I mean, when I first came to the MRC 6 years ago, the only thing I knew about Soros was that he was this mega donor that was keeping the Democrat political machine well-oiled. But after spending years studying his books, researching his ideology, his philosophy, his financial involvement in the world, his philanthropic giving to radical anti-American causes, one of the things I found out is this chilling statement that former Morgan Stanley Dean Witter chief strategist Byron Wien, a confidant of Soros, he said this about him. He said that Soros, quote, wielded more influence in the world than anyone who has ever held high elective or appointed office, end quote. Does that sound like a conspiracy theory to you?
No, sounds like the perfect plan for the evil mastermind. You know?
Exactly. It's chilling. And I mean, like, that would scare anybody. Imagine if Trump was described that way, or any other billionaire on the right. But no, I mean, Soros is the one that's classified also as a stateless statesman. He's a law unto himself. I mean, this is not just me saying it. These are people within his inner circle that have said this. And not only that, but then Soros' own God complex philosophy about bending the arc of history. Like, here was this chilling statement that The Independent had reported about in 1993. He said that this is what he said, quote, "It is a sort of a disease when you consider yourself some kind of God, the creator of everything, but I feel comfortable about it now since I began to live it out." End quote.
Wow.
I mean, how could you just make that up?
Well, gods don't die, so he's going to find out the hard way. Sorry, my voice is echoing back in your phone. It's freaking me out. But do you think the news entities are afraid to report on this because Soros will have them whacked? I mean, it's not a fact, but it's a question.
Well, I remember something, a previous investigation that I did a couple of years ago that found that Soros had given about $131 million to 253 media groups around the world. And these are some of the most powerful publications that you can imagine. And a lot of these publications end up getting recirculated through American media, vis-a-vis the Washington Post, the New York Times, you name it. And a lot of today's media, including talking heads, well, now Lester Holt had left NBC, but years ago he was connected to Soros-funded groups, including other people at CNN, PolitiFact, you name it. There was some sort of connection between them and Soros vis-a-vis the groups that they were involved with. I mean, so it's not surprising to me that that they don't want to talk about this. As a matter of fact, you mention anything about Soros, they're immediately going to try to smear you as being some kind of anti-Semite for bringing it up. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
How did they get this information to the media to report on it, though, as fact, even though it was clearly a lie?
That's the point. I mean, and when the Durham documents came out, you had the New York Times and others going out and trying to convince people that the emails or whatever was Russian disinformation. And I'm like, are you guys kidding me? Yeah. You're pulling that out again after what you guys did 4 years ago? You know, like the 51 intelligence officials saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. People knew you were BSing then, right? And now you don't. Now you're going to try to pull that same stuff now with the Durham documents. Get out of here.
Yeah, but they will. They'll say it, and their constituents, let's call them, because I don't care if they're media, but or Soros, they have constituents. They're going to believe it.
Of course they are, because Soros made it a point a long time ago to get heavily invested in media because he recognized that the pen is more powerful than the sword. I mean, look at what just happened with NPR and PBS. Soros is a historical funder of NPR. He's given like over $1 million or something like that historically, and it caused a big controversy with NPR because not only was NPR getting money from Soros, but they were also getting tax dollars. Mm-hmm. I mean, like if you have someone that's that invested in the media ecosphere, I mean, just a little while ago, he bought up about $400 million of the debt of Odyssey, the second largest radio distributor in the United States, and that gave him control over massively powerful radio stations across the country. I mean, that's not a conspiracy, that's fact, and no one's supposed to ask questions about it? Come on.
What the heck? Okay, so I need to understand this Debbie Wasserman Schultz thing. She clearly complicit in all of this. Now they have David Hogg, so what a nice step up for them. But is she even still in politics?
Of course she is. I mean, like, people who are, that embedded in the political sphere don't go away. I mean, of course, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is still a part of it. I mean, it's the same thing with Nancy Pelosi. She may have stepped down, as the leader of the Democrats in the House, but she's still the one. You could bet your bottom dollar that she's still pulling strings. I mean, it doesn't matter whether they retire. I mean, look at Barack Obama. I mean, still, he's no longer the president of the United States, but still, he's still pulling influence within the Democratic Party. That's the thing. It's like a beehive. They all buzz around the same buzz around the kingdom. The bees never leave the hive. They're still there. So that's the issue with these entrenched politicians. They can stay there for X amount of years with as much influence, and we're never supposed to ask any questions about it. And the irony is that Soros keeps that machine well funded and keeps and is the financial backing behind a lot of these Democrat politicians, so they're able to maintain their level of influence in Washington. That should scare anybody. I mean, remember years ago, the left was freaking out over the Koch brothers and how much political influence they had, and they could rail against that. They could publish as many books as they want about money in Washington, but you bring up Soros, oh, you must be an anti-Semite. Yeah, you know what? That's about as big a contradiction as you could ever bring out. You want to complain about billionaires on the right, but we're not supposed to ask any questions about billionaires on the left, because then we'll get smeared. I mean, that's what's just stupid about the whole thing.
Well, why doesn't George Soros take his money and go feed everyone in Gaza then, if he, loves them so much? All right, so it's silly. But with Bill Clinton constantly on the Lolita Express, even sometimes without his security team, and Hillary Clinton conjuring this entire thing up in her campaign, which was, I'm sure, helped out by Soros, coming up with this entire Russia hoax, how are the Clintons able to, live? How are they able to function and still be relevant when all of this dirt is just dripping of their filthy people?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you think about it in the 90s, Bill Clinton got impeached. I mean, back then, being impeached was like getting the black spot, like, to use pirate terminology. I mean, like, politically speaking. I mean, but yet, meanwhile, he managed to outlast that. I mean, that's the thing with the Clintons. I mean, when you're people who are that entrenched with Washington and the powers that be, it doesn't matter, what comes out. I mean, they'll find some way to skirt around it. I mean, there's no such thing as bad press for people like the Clintons. I mean, just the fact that their names are in the media, they feed off of that. So even if it's bad news, they'll find a way to spin it to their advantage. They're political junkies,
But it's clearly a lie. It's a lie. It's manipulating elections. It's against the law. It's treason or sedition. One of the two.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, think about those 51 intelligence officials that came out and said that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. For the fact that they lied to the American people? No. Yeah, exactly. Are the Clintons going to pay for manipulating the election? No. Are they? The fact that they even got information from Christopher Steele, that's foreign disinformation. Personified. But are they going to get penalized for it? Is anyone in the FBI going to get penalized for it? Is anyone in the Justice Department going to get penalized for it? Absolutely not.
That kid needs to sue the pants off of them for false incrimination. He needs to sue them big time.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what should happen. But we live in a two-tier justice system. If anything over the past few years has given us any indication, given what President Trump has endured, at least on the legal side of things, I mean, it's like he was being attacked constantly by the Politburo. But is anyone going to pay for that? No.
Probably not. All right. So I have 1 minute left. How can people get active with this? Something needs to happen.
Well, first of all, you need to call your representatives. First of all, you also need to, start updating yourself on this information. Please start researching into the Soros empire for yourselves. I mean, I can only disseminate information, but this is when the American people come up and they start researching this stuff for themselves. The Soros empire is not a passive player. The Durham documents are just Exhibit A of the involvement that Soros has had with the political system over the decades-long career. Start researching this stuff for yourself. Read the MRC special reports that we've released on Soros. My work, you can find it on Newsbusters. You can find it on MRC.org. Start researching and update, and coming to grips with the fact that there is a deep state, that there are these political machines that are out to completely overhaul American politics.
Yeah.
Call your representatives, call your attorney general, start investigating, do something, because the thing is, the longer that we continue to act like everything is okay, the more power that these billionaires and these political powers, are able to, just to pull the wool over our eyes. we're going to be stuck in the matrix, for lack of a better word, unless we unplug ourselves.
I picked the red pill, if that's the case, or the blue pill. I don't know, whichever one set me free. That's the one I'm taking. All right, so the Soros Empire is a significant political force. We need to do something about it. I seriously want to thank Joseph Vasquez for stepping in here for me, associate editor at MRC Business. Thank you for the information and your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Fawn. Speak to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.